President Obama was the first president ever to use the word transgender in his State of the Union address in January. The Time magazine cover last year, the transgender tipping point, calling it America's next civil rights frontier. Vice President Biden even called it the civil rights issue of our time. And as I always say, civil rights aren't for anyone if they're not for everyone. And that includes the transgender community. Joining me now is Allison, Gill, Senior Legislative Counsel for the Human Rights Campaign, and Kimberly Reed, a transgender filmmaker and advocate. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Kimberly, what's your reaction to Caitlyn Jenner's introduction to the world?
Well, you know, like a lot of people, I think that we saw a very interesting photograph on the cover of Vanity Fair, a very, stunning photograph. I think we also have to keep in mind that not everybody goes through a transition like this. We can't all have our photos taken by Annie Leibovitz and be on the cover of Vanity Fair, and there's a lot of people who are transitioning every day. Who have to do it, in a much more low-key way, and we got to keep the focus on them.
Allison, how significant of a moment was this for today's transgender community, this Vanity Fair cover and this high-profile transition? How significant was today?
Well, I think that the increasing awareness of transgender people and through transgender celebrities is very significant. We've seen increased awareness due to Laverne Cox, Janet Mock's best-selling book, and now, of course, Caitlyn's journey. And I think that makes such a difference. The level of awareness has grown so rapidly.
You know, when you talking, Kimberly, about everyone can't do Vanity Fair cover and all, many people, whether they have personal feelings one way or another, religious feelings, support the civil rights of people to live their life and to be respected. Give me a sense of how the bias and pain one has to go through that does not have the celebrity of a Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I felt, and what I hear Caitlyn saying that she feels now, is just an overwhelming sense of relief. And a lot of that relief is just a personal feeling because you don't feel like you're hiding. But a lot of that relief really comes down to the civil rights issue that you are no longer being discriminated against. And it's just going to be a matter of time before people get to know Caitlyn or Laverne Cox or people who are on the covers of other magazines. It's what keeps me, talking about these issues as well, is that the more trans people you know and the more trans people you can relate to, the more you can humanize them, and that's what makes it fundamentally a civil rights issue.
You know, GLAAD's director of transgender media said, Allison, for a transgender person to step into the world as his or her authentic self is a moment of tremendous freedom. The world can now see what Caitlyn Jenner has always known, that she is and always has been a woman. Allison, what's your reaction to that? Tremendous freedom. That quote kind of sticks out to me.
I think that's absolutely right, and you can tell the tremendous amount of joy that Caitlyn feels in getting to express her true self. And I think that's also important to note that, when trans people are present in this way and people know them, it makes such a difference for accelerating civil rights laws and equality.
Kimberly, in the Vanity Fair article, Caitlyn says, despite having second thoughts, she had to transition. She said this, she went through second thoughts during her preparation for transition. But then she says, quote, if I was lying on my deathbed and I had kept this secret and never, ever did anything about it, I would be lying there saying you just blew your entire life, you never dealt with yourself, and I don't want that to happen. How difficult a decision is this, Kimberly?
Sometimes I wonder just about phrasing it as a decision, because if I had to make that decision, I could relate to some of the things that Caitlyn are saying, that you don't want it to be the case or you have hesitation. And I think a lot of people feel that way. But it's not really a decision. It's just who you are. And if you're going to be who you are, really the only decision you have to make is if you're going to be your true self and let that come out. And I think that's what Caitlyn is going through right now.
Allison, are there certain laws that can be made to deal with this and protect this?
Absolutely. Most states do not have any specific laws in place to protect trans people in areas like employment or housing. And so it's really important that we work to pass non-discrimination laws across the country to make sure that everyone is treated fairly and they're not discriminated against just because of who they are.
When you know the president helped to really peak this movement when, as I said, it was a critical point when he talked about it in his State of the Union address. Today he tweeted, "It takes courage to share your story," was his words. What did this moment in the State of the Union mean to the transgender community when the President of the United States for the first time addressed the transgender community?
Oh, it was big. To hear that word coming out of the president's mouth was a big thing for the trans community. And I think it emboldens a lot of us to just be comfortable with who we are, and that's what we're all about. That's what we're all trying to head for here.
You know, celebrities kind of rallied Allison today. They tweeted their support for Caitlyn Jenner. Ellen DeGeneres wrote, "My hope for the world is that we can all be as brave as Caitlyn Jenner." Lady Gaga tweeted, "Caitlyn Jenner, thank you for being a part of all of our lives and using your platform to change people's minds." And Jenner's stepdaughter, Kim Kardashian West tweeted, "How beautiful, be happy, be proud, live life your way." I'm seeing a lot of positive signs today online. Is this a turning point in your mind, Allison?
Well, I hope so. I think that sort of celebrity attention can really make a difference and help to galvanize support for the trans community across the country, to let people know that trans people are just like everyone else. They need employment, and they need to not be discriminated against and be able to live their lives.
Allison Gill and Kimberly Reed, let me thank both of you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.